to have to do this as well for YouTube. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Restoring Our Humanity. Basically, here's what's going to happen. This is going to be kind of a mix of Overwatch news along with Restoring Our Humanity. There's some things we got to talk about, some news articles I've seen recently that are not the greatest. And bear with me on the microphone. I've got one in the mail, like I said, through Amazon on the podcast. I'm going to get another video camera as well. I'm just using the standard MacBook Air video camera. So here's where we're at. I'm sick of politics in the military. So let's be reminded very clearly about what the mission of the military actually is. Okay? Literally, not figuratively. The mission of the United States military is to kill our enemies, to murder our enemies with the most effective means possible. Right? Right or wrong? I mean, that's what it is. And when we play politics in the military, our readiness suffers. We are soldiers, we are sailors, we are airmen, we are Marines, we are coasties, right? That is who we are. That is our military fighting force, period. Our job is to stop evil from coming to our shores, right? Everything we do is based on that premise. So, if we start talking about politics and this and that, and allowing SJWs and feminists to go with our ranks, with that, we're allowing everything else. Look, we compromise everything we do as a military, right? I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. Right before I got out of the military, I'm just a lowly engineer. By that, I mean the baddest regiment ever. As a lowly engineer, baddest regiment ever, we had a lieutenant colonel that was more SJW feminist than you'd see in a gender studies class. Lieutenant colonel leading a battalion into combat. Her sergeant major was awesome. All the first sergeants were absolutely amazing. When I was deployed, we had an environmental engineer in charge of a surveying section. We were surveying AutoCAD and soils testing, road construction, etc. Said this before, but we basically built bases where people didn't want to build bases. We were the Army. We just go, right? So we built bases that were never built before. I mean, some were built like it, but we kind of designed a new guard tower based on where we were going to be at and the threats involved. And we had no idea what we were doing. I was a PFC. My buddy was a PFC. And the team leader was a fresh buck sergeant. Great guys. We didn't know what we were doing. They handed us some packets from the private contractor and said, here, figure it out. This is what pre-detonation is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We did that. Why? That was our job. To stop our guys from dying. When you start injecting politics into this, it turns into something else and not good. It affects our force, right? We can't do our mission effectively unless we have not only the tools, the training, but also the cohesion, the unit cohesion that we need. And when we start talking about what we're doing and how we're doing it, and we're starting to push different agendas, then we're not being effective. Now, the Army just implemented a new fitness policy, what is it, ACFT or something like that. It replaces the Army physical fitness test. It's pretty cool. But the Army even had to release, hey, look, 67% of our women can't even pass it. It's not, something that I'm proud of. It sucks. But I do remember right before deployed, we had a 41-year-old join our ranks. And yes, she was female, but she's also, I think, 5 foot tall. We went to, quick readiness processing or something like that. I can't remember. It's where you get all the new cool high-speed gear for your deployment. And she went to pick up her bag, and I said, and she asked me, she says, hey, Corporal, can you grab some of the other guys and have them help me with my bag? I said, ma'am, you are tasked with pulling every single one of these gentlemen out of a burning Humvee with all their kit on. If you can't pick up your own bag, you are not ready to deploy. Because it's not. If you can't pick up your own duffel bag and carry it, you can't fight. You have to fight. You'd be in Afghanistan. It sucks. Like, you're talking about fighting people that have been fighting for 3,000 years, and you need to be in combat condition. Combat ready is what we call it, right? If you can't carry a duffel bag, you're not combat ready, and I don't want you on my team. Period. End of story. And I'm sorry, like I said, it sucks, but it's the truth. If we keep fighting over, trans issues and LGBT stuff in the military, look, nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. We don't care. I don't care if you're polka dotted, red, whatever. A, we all play the same color, and B, we're all treated differently. Period. We're all in the suck. And as my former chief used to say, there's 1,000 different ways to eat a shit sandwich, but eventually you got to eat it. And if we're solely looking on politics or distracting from the mission, we can't accomplish the mission. I saw, Wounded Warrior Project put out a news article the other day that really it hurt my soul, because we're focusing on things we shouldn't be focusing on. There's a 9-year-old girl, bless her heart. She said, I don't know why there's no female toy soldiers. And I'm like, well, you're talking about the cheap plastic 25 cents for 3,000 toy soldiers. But, I think it's like 6 or 7% of women are in the United States Armed Forces. It's not much, but the point is, so like this is Wounded Warrior Project. Let's talk about wounded warriors, not push an agenda that doesn't really exist even. And it blows me away that we're focusing on something like that. It's like, guys, I don't understand why we're focusing on that. We have a mission, and we have to accomplish that mission. End of story. We can't do that if we're talking about this. So the other thing is, do you know how many guys quit between, not quit, I said they ETS'd out of the military after, I'd say 2009 to 2012, because they just couldn't stand the politics anymore. And because military became political. It was never political. Okay, there's a war to fight, go fight the war. Period. Whether you agree with it or not, go fight. Yeah, in Vietnam, there was turbulent times, but World War II and Korea, you didn't have that. You just went and fought. Go. You say go, we go. Period. And, we started sending great generals on their way. And a lot of those generals didn't deserve to be fired. And they were. And it was a horrible thing. Look at General McChrystal. Look at, he got fired, it was about a year after I got back from Afghanistan. And I remember seeing that article going, well, he talked about Obama. It's like, okay, well, but he's a general. If he says the rules of engagement aren't good, they're not good. He's on the ground fighting. All of his men are fighting and dying on the ground in real time. This is something that it's not a political issue. It's about how can we effectively fight a war. Period. We were fighting a war for what, 19 years? Or 18 anyways. And most of the time our hands were cuffed. And if I told you some of the stories out there, some of them I don't want to talk about, but it's not because I don't want to talk about it like PTSD crap. It's just too long, and it's going to take too long to go into it. But the point is, like, you had to shout, show, shove, shoot. Like, it was a whole process of being able to even shoot an enemy. Unless they were directly firing at you and they had a suicide bomb on their truck or car or whatever, they're barreling down at you at 55 miles an hour. You literally had to shout. You show this panel. If they're close to you, you shove them, and then you can fire one warning shot, and then maybe a disabling shot, and then a kill shot. That's how much it would take. And half the time, you even had to get like authorization from your commander just to do your job. And yeah, I mean, if you're infantry or something like that, it's a little bit different. You're on patrol. But the point being, you had to do all this just to be able to, that was under Bush. When Obama took over, it got worse. It became worse, excuse me. And you can't handcuff our soldiers. When you let them go do their job, they do it effectively, they do it fast, they do it well. We can't lose that. And so that's why I kind of like the new Army Combat Physical Fitness Test, or whatever, the ACFT or whatever they call it. They actually test how you're going to do in combat, not just, okay, we're going to run 2 miles, do as many push-ups and sit-ups as you can. Like, you actually test all the other functions you're going to use in a war zone. I think it's great. I mean, like the confidence course, I would do it. I do it once a week. I love that course. It's amazing. And you have to work together as a team, and you have team building skills and leadership skills you learn on that course, and it's absolutely amazing. But like I said, United States military is not a political arena. Yes, there's politics and getting promoted and yada, yada, yada. I get that. Leave the other politics out of it, right? This is the United States military. Leave it out. period. And there's a joke. When you're in the Army, you're in the Marines, you're in the Navy, you're in the Coast Guard, whatever it is, Air Force, we have this joke going around, when you really go inside and see the bureaucracy and how inefficient everything runs, you wonder how you can function day to day, let alone to be the baddest military in the world. And then the other joke is that there's a Russian officer that was asked, he was interviewed and says, how do you think you're going to defeat the U.S. military? He says, well, let me put it simply like this. When we read the Chinese military manuals, we understand how the Chinese are going to fight because they read their manuals. Our guys, they read their manuals. So if anybody reads our manuals, they can learn how to fight. Same thing with the British. They read their manuals. The problem with the American soldier is they don't read their U.S. Army manuals. Ergo, they're always in chaos. And what is war? It is chaos. Ergo, they're good at chaos. And, it's a joke, but there's some fact and truth into it. Really, guys read the manuals for the board, but other than that, we just kind of fall back on our lowest level of training or highest level of training, excuse me. When the bullets start flying, man, I'm telling you, you fall back on your highest level of training, you keep going. That's all you do. Because tactics, training, and intelligence are really what carried us through all this. And those guys' tactics that we were fighting changed every week. Every single week, there's something new coming down the pipeline. We'd have to change something on the trucks. We'd have to completely re-outfit the trucks. We'd have to change our routes, etc. So, my point is it's this. You can't put politics in the military. You can't keep pushing these policies and then get your arms up in the air and say, oh my God, we can't have these policies because X, Y, xenophobe, what, I don't care. Our job as United States military is to effectively manage our security for the nation and kill our enemies. Period. If you boil it all the way down, now you can argue there's other things we do. I get that we do peacekeeping missions. We send out rice and beans, and we also send out soccer balls. We send out, all that other kind of crap. And it was awesome to do. I loved holding the hands of those little Afghani kids. They were amazing. They were just awesome. They were the coolest kids. But, we knew their dads were going to try and kill us the next day. Back to war. We saw it in Vietnam. We saw it in World War II. We saw it in Korea. And it's it's one of those things that, like I said, when you're in the military, everything's odd. It's not bad. It's just everything's in turmoil all the time. You might think everything's great one day, and then apparently one guy off post gets a DUI, and then everybody's in the barracks, and it depends day to day. But we have a system, and it works well. And everyone's trying to screw with it all the time. And I'm just going to say, stop screwing with it. It's good. Leave it the hell alone. And if we can improve on everything. We can improve our tactics all the time. We can improve our technology. That's awesome. But the military mindset is something totally different. I'm telling you, it's something like 60% of guys that would have stayed in got out after 2010, purely based on what was being injected in the military. Not because I can't do this anymore. Like me personally, I would have stayed in. My body just hurt too much, and everything started breaking down, and I just couldn't keep going. I could probably get to the point again, but I've got so many injuries. It's just, it'd be tough for me to do. But I'm telling you, I know chiefs, I know officers, I know first sergeants, I know command sergeant major, across the spectrum, private specialists, all of it, all got out because they're like, I'm done with the politics. You can't put politics in this war. It doesn't exist here. We have to fight. That's all we're doing is we're fighting every day. We're losing 1 to 3 guys every day at the time that I was in anyways. It's during the troop service. But yeah, you usually lose 1 to 3 guys in Afghanistan a day, 3 to 6 in Iraq a day. That was coming down the intel reports. And yeah, we knew it sucked. But yeah, it's like Tulsi Gabbard. You can't legislate with hearts. You can't legislate with emotions. It's policy. You have to have something that will be effective, not what feels good, right? So you react, you do what you can when something bad happens, but you don't write a policy on it right then and there. You think about it slowly and say, okay, what did the studies say? What can work well and keep everything running well? Period. Anything else is noise. You can't effectively legislate or run a war based on feeling. We do it based on what will work. Okay, well, if that means going and killing an entire cell, okay, we go do a raid, we go get the cell. If that means sending out humanitarian aid, then we do that too. We built schools and roads and bridges. I'm telling you, we had humanitarian HA missions, humanitarian aid missions, 7 or 8 times while we were there. School bags, backpacks. It was soccer balls. It was rice and beans. It was pasta cooking to help them out. And it wasn't because we weren't, we didn't have a heart. Of course we did. But they were also trying to kill us, mind you. Like literally their dads were trying to kill us. So, it's one of those things, like the military is such an amazing piece of work that you can't fathom it until you see it. But it's also bureaucracy and government, and it's clunky and weird. And I mean, the camaraderie we had out there was absolutely amazing. Because when you deploy, it's yes, you love everyone at home, but it's no longer about that. It's about who's next to you. It's about that team you're with. It's about being stuck on a mountaintop and running out of food and water and trying to get to the next point. It's about everything else, and like I said, when you throw any sort of politics into the military, it ruins all of it. And it sucks because the military can be one of the greatest things anyone has ever seen. Just the enjoyment to be part of that group and that club is one of the coolest experiences I've ever had, and still will forever be. I mean, I still love the men and women that I served with, and I'm telling you what, like some of the women I served with were amazing. They could kick my butt, and they were great, kind-hearted, but they were also effective leaders and soldiers, and that's what we need, right? Because we're, a military, so you need effective leaders and soldiers in order to accomplish the mission, and even with poor equipment, we still did it. Even with flat tires, everything that could go wrong went wrong. We still got it done. So, like I said, I'm not bashing the military. I promise you, I'm bashing the leaders at the very top, the ones that keep pushing these narratives of injecting politics into our military, and they're mainly majors, lieutenant colonels. There's some colonels. A lot of colonels are good men. There's a guy that retired that sang on the parting glass at his retirement ceremony. That guy's fantastic. Okay. And, I hope we can return back to the military, because it's one of the most effective learning tools on the planet, yet also one of the most effective militaries on the planet. And, man, I love our guys, and I love the women and men that are in, and I miss y'all. And maybe one day I'll get off my butt, fix this gut, and fix my injuries and come join you. I mean, look at Tim Kennedy. After Trump got elected, he went and joined. And man, I miss it. But right now, yeah, kids, stability, etc. Well, thanks guys for watching and being with us. I'm going to try and put out some more. I didn't want to do a evening segment, but I guess I had to. So thanks for being here and thanks for joining. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.